Hello and welcome to Project Art Now. Hope you're having a great day. On this video we are talking about show, don't tell. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. I will read you on the comment section. Before going any further, I want to express my gratitude for at the time of the recording of this video, Project Art Now has reached over 250 subscribers, and honestly I cannot thank you enough for choosing to click the subscribe button. I promise to do my best to keep on creating the content you enjoy. Sailor Moon is the manga of the week. Like every other manga of the week, you can get it via the link on the description. So please let me know which manga would you like to be featured next. You can also request for any specific character. Show, don't tell is probably the most given advice in terms of writing, and it's also like the most ironic because we use terms like storyteller or tale-teller, and we tell tales, so why dismiss telling when it's clearly an important part of the craft? Well, I believe that to be the secret. Keep on telling, but then what about all the people who keep on saying the good old mantra, show don't tell? Are they somehow wrong? They are totally and undeniably not wrong. Show, don't tell. It's a good advice. I know I am giving some mixed signals here, but what I'm trying to say is, just because show, don't tell is good, doesn't necessarily mean telling is bad. Any good story have a healthy mixture of showing and telling. Now, here are 3 short examples to help illustrate the function of show, don't tell, or as I think it should be renamed, show and or tell. In Dragon Ball, Bulma is a self-proclaimed genius. That's telling. Bulma invented the Dragon Radar to locate the Dragon Balls, a time machine, a shrinking device, and other stuff. That's showing. In this instance, showing proves that her words are true. She is a genius. However, when she says it, it's not just telling, as it shows something else, a bit of her personality. She is not about boasting herself up. Something that, as far as I can remember, it was never mentioned, but as we see here, it was shown, and it was shown quite often as well. Where I'm going with this, telling can work as a means to show. Now, let's take a look at Little Red Riding Hood. Bet you weren't expecting that one, huh? But believe it or not, this short tale has plenty to offer in the art of storytelling. In fact, wait for a full-on video dedicated to it. In this story, when she first meets the wolf, we read Red Cap did not know what a wicked creature he was. Well, that's the narration telling us the wolf is a wicked creature. Then the story goes on and the wolf manipulates the Red Cap and tricks her grandmother in order to eat them. I don't know about you, but I consider manipulation and trickery to be in the arsenal of the wicked, particularly when it's used against the gullible people. So, what we have here is showing. There's more to say about this, but I really want to do the video I mentioned earlier, so I will stop here and move on to the next one. Dropped Princess by N. Malone is the second book in the Itani series, which you should read. Not only is a good story, but it managed to properly use the show don't tell, so one can learn a couple of things from it. I know I had done so myself, which is pretty neat. Now, keep in mind the example I will talk about here in just a moment. It's but a small piece of the cake. Okay, so in Dropped Princess, after a sequence of shenanigans, Itani kind of sorta of escapes the leash. I know I'm being cryptic and I apologize for that. I wish I could go into more details, but I'm trying to avoid spoilers, as this is a story and want you to experience fresh. However, the author does a great work showing and telling whenever either of them are needed, that I had no option but to include it in this video. Anyway, the example I want to point out happens when Itani managed to escape. She is at the time in company of Litari, another cool character you're bound to meet along the way. Here, there is a hyper-short conversation between the two of them, in which the words "leash is bad" are used. That is telling. What about showing? For that, we have to go all the way back to book 1, where the leash first captured Itani. What does he do to her? Well, for starters, he captures her. That ought to be enough to show that indeed leash is bad. But he also experiments on her, let her staff to get control over her, and the list goes on all the way up to the second book. Okay, so those were only a few short examples, of how show and tell go hand to hand in storytelling. But what else can we get from them? We learn that telling can and must be included in a story. However, the instances of telling are better to be spread all over, while on the other hand, showing works better if treated as a priority. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I wish I'll get to see you next week. Bye bye.